That's my shop. They really are. Where's not campus?
You did Canvas. No. What do you mean they didn't get one?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Whether they joined late or not. It's not that I'm reminded that.
There's a little spike in the temperature. He's in an all bike area now, so he's.
You know.
Karen,
I didn't notice. I think Wade's here.
where's Karen? Right there. Here? Thank you.
Am I in the right spot?
Thank you for helping me find that shirt.
They need to have it like this way too, right?
They would be good. This was last time. I know because they're tan. Remember that?
They're at the tail end. They're almost empty. I feel fine now, but I was cold earlier in the day.
I try to stay away from it. Am I not supposed to make dishes? Bless it. We're not supposed to.
I don't know.
You told me that from the beginning. I try not to.
In 2 weeks.
You're right. Like, oh, Chelsea.
By me.
A little bit important, but you know. There was a text. That's right. That's true. We all here? Anything else out here? Make a copy of that picture.
That time. I mean, when I'm not up there, you gotta get a new one.
You want me up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we ought to just give it to you.
Good. Is everybody in their seats? We're missing one, so give us just a minute and we'll get started. Sorry. I've got half my
You're
house
good.
up.
Call to order. We're ready to start. I'm going to give the reverence tonight, and then Superintendent Carlson's going to do our flag salute. So if you'll all join us. Our dear kind Father in heaven, we are so grateful for the opportunity and privilege to be here tonight to serve in this capacity, to serve our students and educators and all those who benefit from our public education in our district. Father, we pray that Thy Spirit will be with us, that we can have the power of discernment and make good decisions. We pray that we can also be peaceful and clear in our comments, that we might understand the things we need to understand and ask the questions and go through the discussions that need to happen to make those good decisions. Again, we're so grateful for this opportunity, and we pray that Thou would please watch over and protect our children, our students of this district, and all that they're doing in their learning and their activities and in their homes. We pray that they are safe and well, and that we can do the best things for them. We say these things in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Join in after me. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone. We are going to get started with our recognitions from Jamie Kent, and she will go ahead and start those. Are we starting with the FFA or the C Awards?
Oh, we're going to start out with FFA.
Excellent.
Okay, so today we want to recognize River High School's FFA. So we have Dave Schaefer, TJ Rhodes, Linus Coiler, Melissa Ingram, Wes Burrell, and Kelly Kunzler. So you guys, if you would come up here, those of you that are here.
They're all there.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the things they do in FFA. They have a huge impact on many students and our broader community. They build relationships between students, advisors, schools, and communities. Through teamwork and mentorship and shared experiences, FFA helps students develop leadership, confidence, and lifelong connections that extend beyond the classroom. They do this every year, though. They host the Northern Utah Invitational. It's a remarkable example of their relationships in action. They bring together 1,900 contestants from 84 schools, including 57 schools in Utah, 23 from Idaho, and 4 from Wyoming. And so organizing an event on this scale takes a lot of dedication and planning, and so we just want to recognize them for that. They've put together a little presentation so they can tell you a little bit more about what they do in FFA.
Yes, clicker I should use?
You just give me a little correct fingers.
You got it. All right, thanks for having us. I think this is a neat opportunity to kind of show you what's going on in our little neck of the woods and what's happening. But first of all, the FFA is a really neat opportunity and organization that our students have the chance to participate in. A lot of you might know it as the Future Farmers of America, but it's so much more than that. Back in the 80s, they changed the name, said we can't just be for farmers anymore. It's so much more than that. Almost 100, well, it was 109 years ago, just passed in February, that the Smith-Hughes Act was passed, and the United States of America put a major investment into agricultural education and eventually vocational education and what we know now as career and technical education. And this is, the culmination of those last 100 years that FFA has become a major part of all of our programs here in the county and throughout the nation. And so it's been a cool thing to be a part of that. FFA serves over 1 million members. I think this year we hit a milestone record year with like 1,042,000, somewhere close to that. So really it's a big deal, right? Agricultural programs are not dying, they're growing. We boast over 17,000 members here in the state of Utah. And here at Bear River High School, we have over 600 members. So we love to be a contributing part to those big numbers. So go ahead.
Can I ask it?
Oh yeah, go
So
ahead.
if it's not Future Farmers, what is it?
So the name actually, they call it, they didn't want to lose FFA because, it's like the Nike swoosh. It's too recognizable, right? The name of the organization is now the National FFA Organization. And so we work with kids from all facets of the agricultural industry, whether it is production agriculture on farms and ranches, all the way into agricultural business, food products, processing, and manufacturing, and all areas within agriculture. NUI has been around for probably 10 years. I started thinking back on it as we were talking about doing this, and I think we started in 2016 when we first had this little podunk get together at the county fairgrounds, and 7 or so schools came, and we had a good time, and it has just taken off like crazy since then. You heard some of the numbers. We brought together schools from Idaho, Wyoming, all over Utah. It's been a great thing. We've got 1,700 plus student competitors. We had 14 CDEs hosted. CDE stands for Career Development Events. Within the FFA, that's what they call their contests. And so, just to kind of give you a little idea of what it takes to put that on, there's only us at Bear River, right? And we've got, let's see, maybe I've got it on the next slide. Hit one more. We had, there's some pictures from our stomp that night. We host a stomp the night before the contest.
1,700 students?
Yeah, lots and lots of kids. And it's a blast. We didn't have 1,700 at the dance, at the activity. But those that come from far away and are staying the night, they can come and join in on a little party and have some fun and get to socialize with kids from all over the Intermountain West, and it's really cool. So let's do one more. Yeah, keep going. Click through that. Yep, there they are. So there's all of our 14 contests, from ag mechanics, creed speaking. I don't know if any of you guys ever recited the FFA creed in high school. I believe in the future of agriculture. Floral contest, forestry, prepared public speaking. We had kids giving speeches, whether it was prepared or extemporaneous, where they've got to put it together within a half hour. Just an amazing feat for a lot of these kids from 9, 10, 11, 12th grades. So vet science, like I said, all over the agricultural industry. Hit it one more time. Like I said, there's only a handful of us at Bear River, but it takes a lot. We've got the advisors from Box Elder contribute a ton. A handful of schools from neighboring districts also participate in Cache and Weaver, and a couple of others from outside that even. So it takes a lot, and it's been a neat collaboration to bring all of us together and make this event happen. Go ahead. The other side of it is the impact that it has on our community. It is awesome to bring in community members as judges for these contests, and the folks from the district office that come to help and participate, the producers that bring animals and other things to make these contests actually happen. It's just amazing to see the support and the help that the community here in Box Elder County really puts forth for our agriculture programs. I love to see how that connection between our programs and the community gets strengthened every year as we do this process. We hear from our judges that, oh my goodness, I just can't believe how good these kids are, how awesome these students are, and it's a credit to our district here that we've got some awesome kids coming up through it to be the future of our community. So go ahead. And there is a major impact on our students. There's benefits that they don't even know are coming down the pipe, right? I got a call a couple of weeks ago from a community member, a fellow that lives in Garland, and he says, "I'm looking for a public speaker." So I said, "Well, we've got one." And he says, "Well, I've got lined up the old guy that was the state champion public speaker in FFA from, I don't even know when it was, 1970s sometime. Might have been, yeah.
I was going to say, don't you say 1989.
Was it you? No. It was a long time ago. Anyway, he was putting together a little program for the folks at the Our House Care Center, and brought our current speaker and a couple of those old guys that participated long ago, and it was neat to see that interaction, and just really cool opportunities for our kids to strengthen their skills, to interact with folks in the community and in the industry, as well as network with kids from around the area that they don't get a chance to very often at all. So really, really great impact on our students. It would be very detrimental to see these opportunities go away if there was ever talk like that. I mean, it's just so important for these kids to have these opportunities. And so, again, a big thank you for sharing this with us tonight. Thanks for letting us present a little bit to tell you kind of where we're at and what's happening with our Bear River FFA chapter.
Thank you.
If you guys ever have an opportunity to go to the Northern Utah Invitational, the NUI, it is a pretty awesome thing to see. And my favorite thing whenever I go to an FFA event is their jackets and seeing all of the counties that they represent on the back in their schools. It's pretty amazing that there's that many kids that participate in these programs. Okay,
So when is
have
it
you guys
usually?
go up here and shake their hands, and then we're going to stand in front. We're going to get a picture.
This is Kent.
I have something for you. Yes.
There was a question, when is it usually? Is it always this time of year?
Yes. Do you want to tell them?
Sure, if you had some questions, I'd love to answer those. The Northern Utah Invitational, we always host we try to host it right around during National FFA Week, which is part of CTE month in February. We're usually that third or fourth week of February, generally the same week as President's Day.
So that was what we saw at the fairgrounds.
That's right.
Which was, I did get to go for like the last 10 minutes. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Probably went and caught a couple of things there.
But it was awesome. It was really cool. I did not know you could look at a piece of meat and know where it came from. It's unreal. And I felt like I should go back to school too. So just thank you for all you guys do. That was amazing.
You bet. Other questions you guys had about it?
Okay, all right. Guess we'll start over there.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah,
Appreciate you forgiving our kids.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Thanks a lot.
You do.
You're to that. That would
I'll
be
do it
awesome.
sooner this year.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's so cool. So exciting. Thank you. It's awesome for our students. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So good to see you along the drive, huh?
Yep, we're trying to work.
Okay, will you give one? Okay, and then if you'll just go.
Did you ever put Bear University on your list of things that you help with? Because
It is definitely on the list of things that we help.
It's an amazing program. Is that okay? I know that they appreciate it.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah.
Squeezing over.
I don't like you. I mean, look so short.
Shift.
I don't know how shoes today work.
Let's put you right here in the middle. Oh, so you're in the middle right there, and then you step right here. Come right here.
I don't know.
You can go first. I'll go.
They're cheesy.
All right, thank you guys. Okay, so now we have our C awards. So I'm gonna read their names so that they can come up here, and then I'll tell you about them. So we have Kristen Kendrick, Jason Bingham, and Jenny Anderson. And then face this way. Okay, so Kristen Kendrick, she is the S and C, she strengthens PLCs. She's a dedicated leader that helps North Park teams collaborate and stay focused on their impactful PLC work. Her Commitment to supporting teachers and aligning writing instruction across grade levels is helping to strengthen instruction and improve student achievement. Hot for us. Okay, Jason Bingham, also an FFA teacher at Box Elder, but he's here for his aviation. He provides some incredible and impactful just opportunities for Box Elder High School students through his aviation program. He gives them real-world learning opportunities and career exploration experiences that always keep students, he always keeps his students' best interests in mind in his work. And he's received a lot of awards for the work he's in a magazine and a lot of other things, so it's pretty cool. He does a lot of great things. And then Jenny Anderson, she's the E, well, Jason was the E2. He elevates student connections. I'm like reading all the wrong things. Jenny elevates employees' appreciation. She is committed to employee appreciation. She consistently goes above and beyond to ensure every staff member feels value through gestures, meaningful recognition, and support. And she does this during joyful and challenging times. And so we just want to recognize all three. They were all nominated by administrators in their building, and then they were voted on by district office employees. You guys are going to go shake their hands too with me.
Thank you, congratulations. Thank you, that's awesome. Way to go. Way to go, that's awesome. Great job, Jason. Thank you, appreciate it. Great job, Jason, that's cool.
Good job. Thank you for all you do so much. Congratulations. You're awesome.
Great job, Jason.
We don't need to.
Don't sit up. Good for your legs.
It is good. Get our picture again.
Sorry. Throw it.
What we should do for Christmas is just have like little
And then Jason, you're next. And then you get E and E. Okay. Let me make sure we're right now. Okay, you three in the front, just take one step back. Jason.
Right on it.
Sometimes the hardest thing is the picture. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
There's other picture takers.
Paparazzi.
I'm not used to that.
Seriously. Easter specialties candy.
Yes, thank you guys.
You want to
Mr. Schaefer mentioned that the kids in our district, that it said a lot about our district, and I just want to clarify, it says a lot about you educators and administrators and our administrative assistants that are taking care of these kids every day in public schools and teaching them the way you are, and their parents, right, who are supporting them at home. Our kids are amazing because they have amazing support from individuals, from adults like you all. So thank you so much for all you do. Appreciate you.
Can I just piggyback off of that? Just how impressive, because you don't have to do those extra things. It's just so great that you spend the time to actually do that. Mr. Schaefer and his team have pulled me out of it to at least two situations that I'm just very grateful for. So thank you guys for all you do.
Thank you. All right, we are going to move ahead. Actually, while we're doing recognitions, I want to recognize State Representative Tom Peterson's with us tonight. We appreciate you being here. He just got done with the session, right? And I know that's just got to be so long and tiring, and we're glad you're here. We appreciate all the work you do for all of our community. All right, we need an approval of our agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. Let's go ahead to our public comment. Gosh. We have 6 individuals signed up for public comment, and I don't have the sheet in front of me to read, but there's a 3-minute limit for individuals. If you were representing a group, you have 6 minutes, but the majority of the group has to be here for that. So I'm assuming that everyone is individual comment, yes. So 3 minutes apiece, and we'll get.
Personnel issues will be discussed.
Right, no personnel, thank you. No personnel issues will be discussed at this meeting, in an open meeting. Also, we don't respond at this time. We hear you and listen, and we'll respond through email or talk to you individually. This is our chance to listen to you as you come. So anything else that you can remember from that statement? Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead with Ben Soholt. And then just state your address, right?
Your city.
Your city is good enough, not your address.
Ben Soholt, Brigham City.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to start with a simple question. How are residents supposed to communicate with the school board? At the last meeting I attended, I was encouraged to send my ideas by email. I did that on February 11th to every member of this board. I shared several suggestions about reducing future building costs and improving collaboration between the district and the community. Unfortunately, I never received a response. Public comment allows residents to speak for a few minutes, and I appreciate that opportunity, but it isn't a conversation. It doesn't allow questions to be answered or ideas to be explored together. If emails go unanswered and public comment is the only format available, it becomes difficult for residents to meaningfully collaborate with the school board. And many of us truly do want to collaborate. In my email, I offered a few constructive suggestions. First, I suggested that the district consider using existing blueprints when constructing future schools. Designing a new building from scratch requires architects and a lengthy design process, which can be expensive. But many school designs already exist and work well. If the district used an existing blueprint and simply hired an architect to update it to meet current building codes, the cost should be significantly lower than creating a completely new design. Second, I suggested advocating at a state level for legislation allowing school districts to establish a dedicated facilities trust. Under this idea, a small portion of property tax revenue could be placed into each year into a protected interest-bearing account used only for major repairs, remodels, or new construction. Private donors could also contribute to it. Over time, this would build a reserve that helps reduce reliance on large bonds and major tax increases in the future. I've already shared this idea with my state senator and representative, and I hope the school board might consider supporting the concept as well. Finally, I suggested holding a collaborative meeting where residents and the school board can have a real discussion about these building challenges. I truly believe that we can find these solutions together, but that requires communication that goes both directions. So again, I would simply ask, what is the best way for residents and the school board to work together to find those solutions? Thank you.
Thank you. And Ben, I know we said we wouldn't respond, but in this case, I can speak for the two of us, and we didn't receive your email. I've been communicating back and forth this month since our last board meeting with 2 or 3 individuals through email, but I didn't receive yours. So I don't know. So I don't know what the glitch is. Maybe we can check email addresses, or I don't know. I just didn't receive it. I surely would have responded.
And Tiffany, I just looked over all my emails. I didn't receive anything either, Mr. Soholt, so I apologize for that.
So, thank you.
Try again, please.
Thank you. No, I believe you. There just must be a catch, right?
Robert, would it be possible it was in spam? And I don't know if y'all checked your spam. I'm just, since it was that way, I don't know.
It could have been. Yeah, it could have went to.
We've gotten other emails since last board meeting that I've responded to, so I'm not sure what it is. Those are great ideas. I heard you, and maybe if you'll.
It's in spam.
And yours is right here.
It is.
So I'll email you first, and then we can go back and forth. Would that be all right?
It's in my spam folder. It's in your spam folder. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Cody McBride.
Good evening, Cody McBride from Tremonton. I'm commenting tonight with regard to the proposal to match the donation from the Roger B. and Karen D. Green Trust for the baseball and softball fields. The letter from the Bear River High School administration posted in the agenda states that the matching is in accordance with policy 2100, section J, subsection 3. This policy states the request shall be submitted in writing to the superintendent and/or business administrator on or before February 1st. The letter from the Bear River High School administration is dated March 3rd, 2026. Unless there was an earlier letter to the superintendent and/or business administrator dated before February 1, this request appears to be out of compliance with the policy. If the board could please address this during the appropriate portion of the meeting, that would be greatly appreciated. The policy is there to protect schools, the district, the board, the students, and the community, all of us. I want to be clear that I'm not commenting for or against the matching donation. It's merely a point of order to make sure that we're following the policies as they've been established. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Okay, Mikkel Harrop. Did I say that right?
Harrop, yeah.
I'm sorry, Harrop.
Hello. My name is Mikkel Harrop. I live in Brigham City, graduate of Box Elder High School lots and lots of years ago. I am coming to you guys to talk about Lakeview facilities. I am a proud Lakeview parent. I'm wearing my Lakeview shirt today. And I am proud of our staff, our teachers, the people who maintain our building, our admin have been amazing for my son who is a student there. And the dual immersion program has been an incredible thing. But most of all, I'm very proud of our students. Our students work really hard to make the best of some hard issues that come with going to an older school that a lot of students who maybe would go to like Golden Spike or even like 3 Mile Creek don't deal with. I'm asking our community and our board to be open-minded to entertaining more permanent solutions to the issues that Lakeview faces. To my understanding, our plumbing at Lakeview is failing. They're one bad toilet away from considering porta potties. And every time we add a portable classroom, that's adding another 30 kids that still have to use the facilities for bathrooms inside the school when those facilities are already stretched very thin. We have quite a few portables and we're grateful for the space, especially the new ones we got this last year have opened up our school to have a small intervention space and an office for our vice principal, and that has really helped us a lot. But portables to me should be not a permanent solution. It should be a temporary solution as we work towards a more permanent solution, as I see them as a safety and a security risk. The other issue I see is a lack of quiet spaces for reading and intervention. When the students are trying to get this help from our amazing paras and our amazing teachers, there's a lot of distractions, whether that's kids going to lunch or walking through. And I want to give each of these kids a fighting chance to improve their scores with all the testing they do. I've learned that Lakeview students have parents who show up, and as parents, we will always try and bridge the gaps as best we can. But facilities are kind of out of our hands, and our facility is failing rapidly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mikkel. Cassandra Merrill.
She had to leave and she sent me her comment.
Okay.
Am I okay to read that? Hey, Robert, can they hear me? I mean, I want to push. Big voice?
You can be heard in the stream. I don't have a voice lift. If you want one, I can
talk louder.
I think he's
I mean, as loud as you would like me.
If you want one later, I can do that.
No, this is from Cassandra Merrill. I don't know where she lives. I think it's Tremont.
Tremonton, yes.
Okay. I just want to thank whoever does the summaries of the school board meetings. I really appreciate being able to read a couple of page document versus watching a several-hour video when I have young kids at home. I know it takes time to create those, but at least one resident appreciates it. So thank you, Cassandra Merrill.
Good job. Thank you. Rachel Storm.
Hi, I'm Rachel Storm, and I am in Brigham City.
I am the communications officer of our Lakeview PTA, and I am a proud teacher at Box Elder High School and a parent of two Box Elder School Districts kiddos. And you would think as a teacher, my heart wouldn't be racing so much right now, but
I understand.
right now I am currently teaching our high school students to identify rhetorical appeals, so bonus points extension opportunities available if you can identify rhetorical appeals within this presentation. First, I want to thank you for the work that you do. I know it's not easy and it's thankless, and I see your Facebook posts and I see how hard you guys work. So thank you for your time, for your expertise, and for your guidance within our district. I stand here today not as a teacher, but as a parent for two Lakeview students. I would like to remind you of the great needs and struggles that Lakeview faces, and invite you to prioritize the need of our elementary school students as you go through our 10 and 15-year plans. In education, we often say Maslow before Bloom's, and we need to ensure that our students' basic needs are met before meaningful learning can happen. At Box Elder School District, our mission is that all students can learn at high levels. However, we cannot accomplish that if our students do not have space, safety, and basic access to functioning facilities. At this moment, Lakeview only has 3 functioning bathrooms, 600 students, and a whole bunch of adults in that building. And I want to share a brief personal experience, and this is why my heart is racing. I am the mom, I'm not going to cry, I am the mom to a 2nd grader who has level 2 autism. Totally going to cry. His disability makes it very challenging to navigate basic communication, as well as hygiene, function, and needs. That is hard for him. His teachers are phenomenal. The staff is phenomenal in helping him make that happen. But that's hard for a 2nd grader to do when he has to travel across the whole building in order to use the bathroom. This creates shame, guilt, fear in his learning environment instead of joy and love. We shouldn't have that at Box Elder School District. I know that we're better than that. At the beginning of the year, we had a system that as bathrooms have collapsed, that no longer is functioning. For students like my son, for our most vulnerable learners, these kind of things are not minor inconveniences. They are barriers to learning, and we have the ability to make that not the case. I understand that you guys as a school board must prioritize and balance the needs of the many with the needs of the few, and high school is easy because there's lots. But our elementary school students are so vulnerable and their needs are so great. And I would just ask that you guys consider that. Clean facilities, appropriate learning spaces is not a luxury. It's fundamental in order for my elementary school colleagues to be able to do their jobs. So I would respectfully ask the board to prioritize the needs of our elementary school students. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Erin Nielsen.
Aaron Nielsen from Perry. It took me a while to decide whether I was going to sign in tonight and say anything. I feel like a lot of people have made a comment that you guys have already made up your mind and you're going to do what you're going to do every single time, no matter what. You guys represent different districts. My representative is Karen Cronin, and I appreciate that when we sit in these meetings and I listen to you guys talk, she brings up the hard questions. She asks, you guys all talk about why you should do something, and she asks why you shouldn't do something. And I watch the looks on many of your faces when she starts talking, and it is offensive. She is disrespected by you guys, every one of you. I've seen it in the meetings, I've watched your body language. Her voice starts talking, and you guys roll your eyes, and you disrespect her. She's the only one representing her district at this point. You guys keep talking about how you represent the kids, and that's important. You were put in place by voters. You were put in place by taxpayers. That's who you represent. The children are a big part of the equation. That's the job, but you represent your districts. Your districts have voted and told you what they want done, and you guys go around them. Tonight's workshop meeting was another effort to go around what the voters have asked you to do. Trust is gone. Trust is a kind word to use for what's happened in our community right now, because the effort just keeps being, I'm going to go around what you guys asked me to do. I spent a lot of time collecting signatures. I talked to a lot of people. I talked to teachers. I talked to different people that work for the district. They largely, inside of your own school district, don't agree with the approach you guys have taken. You guys have been asked by state representatives to change your course so that the public and the community can come around some things. You talked a lot about the Tremont Elementary School and that being important. I heard a lot of support for that project in the thousands of people that I talked to directly. There are avenues to get what you need, to get these kids what they need. My kids, all 4 of my daughters went to Lakeview. My daughters learned Spanish dual immersion in portable buildings. They turned out fine. There are challenges, but you guys have been given some pretty clear direction from the people that voted you in. I don't need to talk too much in detail because Karen knows what my viewpoint is because she calls and talks to the people that vote for her. And I hear her representing me when she talks in these meetings. And I know that the people in your districts feel the same way that the people in my district feel. So my ask is that you go back to the drawing board, follow what your community has asked you to do, put the money back into struggling families' pockets that belongs there, and then come up with a new plan, a new strategy for paying for things. It's not cheap, I get it. Ben talked about architectural designs that are far cheaper than this one-off building, these grand entrances like Golden Spike has. It's a beautiful building. It is expensive to build beautiful buildings. It's wasteful, and our community doesn't have the money to waste on big, beautiful, fancy things.
Thank you, Mr. Nielsen. All right. Thank you for the public comment. We took notes.
Can I just clarify one thing? Cassandra Merrill, her comment was on what the
It's
office
that,
does.
well,
It's that paper that the
It's-
letter that is a brief on the one-page letter.
Okay.
She loves
it's
that.
what Heidi Jo Notes takes, and then
Yeah.
Marcy turns it into that.
And it really is amazing. So
Great.
thank you guys for doing that.
All right, thanks for the clarification. I appreciate it. All right, we are moving on to our action items. We need to move to F1, approval of college and career readiness counseling program. Mr. Wiley.
Good evening. A little background, as part of the review process for the College and Career Readiness Counseling Program, the State Office of Education requires that the local school board authorize the program every year. Each school's program in secondary ed has completed an annual self-evaluation and an annual data project. All of these have been found to be compliant to all the requirements set forth by the State Board of Education. Over the years, the counseling program of Box Elder School District has consistently received exemplary evaluations from the state of Utah. Box Elder School District school counselors are devoted to their craft and the students they serve. They constantly discuss careers and pathways to help students explore career options. They take students on field trips to B-Tech and Utah State University's campus to expose them to options available to them. High school counselors track graduation requirements and scholarship applications. All counselors offer first responder evaluations to get help for students in need. Most importantly, they give hope to all students. They help light the path for their future and help them see their potential. And I'd like to personally thank all of our counselors for all their hard work and the efforts on behalf of the students of Box Elder School District. I would ask for the board for a motion that the College and Career Readiness Counseling Program of Box Elder School District be authorized for the 2026-2027 school year. No motion this time.
No, because, yeah, I remember that. I would follow your recommendation and recommend that the College and Career Readiness Counseling Program at Box Elder School District be authorized for the 26-27 school year.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thanks, Mr. Wiley, for all
Thank
you
you.
do. Now we have an approval of amendment to McKinley 2025-26 TSSA plan.
Okay, but I have to try to speak up, so let me know if it's not good enough there, Robert. So McKinley Elementary had, I think it was $15,000 that was put aside by their school community council to attend a conference, and $16,000. And as they got into the year, Title I funds were set aside to be used for that. So rather than attend multiple conferences, they'd like to reallocate the funds for technology within their building to update some of the projections that they have for students so that they're more visible. So that's what they're asking for, is that we approve their budget revision, which was based upon what their school community council suggested.
I move that the Box Elder School Board of Education approve McKinley's elementary school revision to their student success plans and for the schools in Box Elder School District for the 2025-2026 school year.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion to that motion? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. All right, F3, approval of negotiations team. Mrs. Fife.
Okay, so last year we kind of started the listening sessions, and we got some great feedback from that, and we want to continue to do that before we do the negotiations. So on April 23rd, we're going to do the listening sessions with all of the employees within the district that represent each of them. And then the negotiations, it says in this that they'll happen at the latter part of April, but it's actually going to be the beginning of May that we'll actually do the negotiations, because the listening sessions will be April 23rd. So those are the teams, and I'd just like to recommend that the Board of Education approve the 26-27 negotiation team members for BESD, BEA, and BESPA.
Any questions, or do we have a motion?
I would recommend that the Box Elder School District Board of Education approve the 2026-27 negotiation team members for BESD, BEA, and BESPA as listed on the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion to that motion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay?
Can you let us know the time of the listening sessions?
Yes.
Send us an email.
Yes. I'll email it to you.
Okay, that motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, F4, the approval of a private donation over $50,000. Mr. Stevens.
We discussed much of this in our work session, but I'll provide a brief summary. We had a local community member who was very generous and wished to donate $500,000 to the Bear River High School for the upgrading of baseball facilities. And per board policy, because of the amount of donation of $500,000, we need board approval to accept that donation. So I would recommend that we would accept the donation for the upgrading of baseball facilities, but we're also open to discussion and questions we have about the donation.
So it's been discussed that if we accept the donation for that field, likely we would need to match that donation to upgrade the girls' softball field as well. Where would that money come from if we did that?
Our capital outlay reserve funds. Presently, I estimate there's to be about $28.5 to $29 million in that fund at the end of this fiscal year. The caveat is how much we have in that fund really depends on property tax payment rates and we call redemptions or payments of back property taxes. That collection, we collect about 95% of all property taxes assessed. And so how much we receive for redemptions each year is dependent on the county and their processes. Some years we may receive $1 million redemptions or back taxes plus interest. And some years we may receive only $500,000. So my conservative estimates will be at about $29 million in that fund, but it could be as high as 30 by the end of the year, depending on those redemptions.
So as been stated, we're prioritizing our overcrowding schools, and so to spend that additional $500,000 is what we want to be prudent in determining if we should do that. You did state that if we did switch to turf, that the payback would be about 5 years on that.
Yeah, the difference between grass or sod, upfront costs, and turf, the payback is about 5 years when you deduct the maintenance costs. But it also allows, the non-monetary benefits, allows increased play, reduced wear on the field, and we can play throughout the entire year in snow or rain or whatever. Whereas when we have rain or snow, we have to wait for it to melt, the field to dry out. It would allow the community itself to benefit greatly and having increased opportunities to have the quality field to play on. Think of your summer baseball leagues, softball leagues. All throughout the year, they would have access to it when the high school is not using it.
Can I just clear something up first?
Yes.
We're on F4, and this is the approval of the private donation.
That's correct.
And we've kind of slipped ahead to F5, and I don't think they necessarily have to. We can still accept it and then whatever the board wants to do on F5. Does that make sense?
Maybe
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I might have jumped the gun a little bit.
I actually think they go together, like Brian was saying, because
Well, I don't think they have to. So
we've been told if we do one, that if we don't do the other, then we'd be
We've
out of
been told that.
compliance. So I guess.
One
based on-
clarifying point is the donor has expressed willingness to work with the district if we have some Title IX issues, to be flexible in where his donation goes, if there's some district participation in other projects. So we're just accepting donation today. We're not earmarking, we haven't started on a plan to design and to go through with this project. That will come at a later date, because the board will have to approve any contract for construction of or upgrades of fields due to the dollar amount. The motion before the board here is just to accept the funds for the donation.
So for clarification, there's no tied expectation for it to go to baseball field.
Currently there is, but the donor has expressed willingness to work with the board and the district to address the needs where Title IX may be an issue. In other words, he may be willing to help out with the softball field at the same time, if that's the case.
Can I ask Mr. Turnus to clarify anything that you'd like to clarify on this? And also, when we're talking about both, I know that Mr.
Green.
The comment that was made about following policy, I was always under the intention this was for February 1st because we're following policy. This was
The match was for
the match was for prior to February 1st, 2027. So I never thought that we would not follow policy on that. But can you help clarify anything that?
Sure, what exactly? You want me to-
Well,
Yes,
you
I
know
can,
better
I don't
than
know if it's-
anybody. You know better than anybody what Mr. Green has said he
Oh,
worked with,
yeah.
or if we're approving a match, if we choose to approve a match for February of 2027, not so that
It's
we
for
are
the
in keeping.
It's for the next budget, not
Right,
for
it's
this.
not for this budget, it's for the next budget in following policy. So,
That I,
but
I don't know any on the policy. I can tell you, I can speak to Mr. Green. if
what
you'd
your
like to see.
options are if the
Yeah.
match is approved for the next fiscal year, which policy requires us to do.
What my options are, like, I'm not.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
How does the job get done?
Moving forward.
If our match isn't available until
the next year,
Yes.
we would, per what Mr. Green asked for, again, his donation to the foundation is contingent on what they specifically asked the money to go towards. And so his recommendation was the baseball field, so we would start there. Then the funds would be allocated. There's lots of different ways that could happen. There's lots of things we can do with field turf to extend out more than 1 year on payment stuff that way. If we need to, it's an option. But yeah, it would just be a matter of starting there.
Field Turf being the company.
The company, yeah, that puts in the turf, yeah.
Okay, so a match following policy for February 1st, 2027 doesn't necessarily stop what you're trying to do.
Not necessarily. There's lots of different things we would have to look at, but yeah. I don't know.
In keeping it with Title IX.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, maybe Keith, you can speak to that part of it, I don't know.
Well, when we are gonna, if the baseball field gets turfed, there's a potential, and all it would take is any individual to say, hey, we're out of compliance. They could file an Office of Civil Rights, and then they could open up a case. We would be more proactive of saying, is there a way to do both of these simultaneously, which would avoid all of that. It gets a little more complicated if you get an OCR complaint and it gets bigger and bigger, and it would probably go over what the match would be, just based on our previous experience 5 years ago. So,
What does that look like, going to O, LM, and OP?
OCR.
OCR. They sent a letter to us as a school district, to the superintendent. They have the claims of where we may be out of compliance. We have to have a response, give evidence to why we are or aren't out of compliance. And then based on the response, they will give us directives of what you will do in order to get in compliance. And they'll look at every angle of that law, if you will, and make sure that we are in, and it's called Title IX from 1970.
And if you can't afford it, then what?
Oh, you will afford it.
Okay.
Now, back in 2021, when we had some locker room spaces, when we approved girls wrestling, we knew that there was issues, and we jumped on board and got that going ever before there was an OCR. It still came, but because we were already proactive in resolving the issue, the consequences, I don't know if that's a good word, but the requirements to be in compliance was much less because we had already started the process to do that. So anyway, per policy 2100, which has been mentioned, having that as a consideration as part of this would avoid us being maybe out of compliance if both were done at the same time.
Can I provide clarification on this policy? This policy in the past has been put in place to ensure for the current fiscal year we have an adequate time to plan for donation and match request in the current fiscal year. And I know this is the next agenda item F4, but what we're asking here is to accept this donation. Next items may asking for us to do a matching, not for this year, but for next year. We would still be compliant with our policy if we did 5-day match in fiscal 27 starting in July 1 of this current year. We're not asking to match the funds right now, between now and June end of the school years. For a future school year, we're asking for the match. But as the superintendent pointed out, the recommendation on the table here is to accept the current offer donation of $500,000 for purposes of the baseball field.
So that's what I was hoping Clay could help us with. So they said that the donor said that it didn't necessarily need to go there, and there's no qualifications if we accept this. It would just be a 500.
No.
Is there?
I don't think that's correct.
No, maybe I can. Maybe I don't know exactly what.
So that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, sure.
That's
Yeah.
because I've heard both.
I think the donor would be amenable to doing something if we asked that. We have not asked that. So his request in writing was that the donation get accepted through the foundation for the specific project that he was working on. The rest of the stuff we're talking is to be proactive about some Title IX issues that will come up if that is the case. So I don't know if that helps you out or not, but.
So going back to Neil's comment that he is amenable to using it other ways, right now his ask is specifically for the baseball field.
We can go back and ask those things, and
But
Roger's
what we're
great.
approving
But
now
yes,
is
correct.
the baseball.
And that is in writing from him for that project that goes through the foundation. Correct. Did I get that right, Steve? Okay. Make sure.
Are you ready? Yeah. I move that the Box Elder School Board accept I don't see an actual written motion, I'm making this up, so I hope it's right. Accept the generous donation from Roger and Karen Green in the amount of $500,000. Is that good? Is that good, Neil?
For the purpose of a baseball
For the
field.
purpose of a baseball field at Bear River High School.
Turf.
Baseball field.
Thanks, Karen. I'm like, I'm just reading right there.
What is it? Is there? Did you just miss where it says motion? I'll second that.
It's a motion, I was just reading.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion to that motion?
Just as a clarification, our thing up there says 50,000.
Above.
Above 50,000.
Policy says we have to accept anything over 50,000, but the donation is 500,000. There we go.
I would just like to make a comment before we vote on the motion that I think it's prudent for us to determine that we need to address the girls' field as well, not only from a legal standpoint, reducing our risk there, but it's just the right thing to do. We ought to have equal, field for the girls and the boys. And then the other comment is, even though it is $500,000 that we would have to, and I know this is the next, but I think they're somewhat connected.
Yeah.
The next item. I think the investment, the opportunity to, with all of the benefits and advantages, and I think it's a prudent use of money, especially in the environment that we're in. We live in a desert, and we're continually seeing issues with less snowpack, less water. It just makes sense to reduce how much grass we have and how much water we have to use. So for those reasons, I think it's the right thing to do.
Also, before we go to the vote, because I too agree the two are tied, and I want to make sure that I note that I am so grateful for people like Roger and Karen Green that would put money towards schools, and in no way are my comments or my vote representing anything but graciousness there. However, I think that we as a district need to be focusing on our needs and not our wants, and this is, even though it's a small amount, it's a want, and so I just wanted that on the record before we go to a vote.
And I guess I'd like to just piggyback off of that I can see the desire of it looking as a want. That doesn't make sense. I can see it looking like a want. But we're also asking for people to put a lot of time and effort to keeping it up. Our community members can't use it. Doing upgrades is putting also a really good focus on their future of what is happening, to come. And it's hard. I guess I have a question, Clay.
Sure.
How many students do you feel like currently are able to use it, and what would be the projection of who could use it after this?
Currently, for the softball field, you're really only looking at our softball team. So we have about 25 athletes that use that during the high school season. We don't allow people on there very often in the summertime because of what you just talked about, the maintenance that goes with it, the upkeep. We don't have the manpower to do that, and just in order to be able to maintain it and in the fall, be able to get it playable again for the next spring is really difficult. If you have the turf, it's almost, there is no maintenance with that. You would probably double the amount of people, and the amount of games. The amount of people, you probably quadruple, maybe even more than that. But you're talking about really the season from early March all the way through the end of October. We have people that are trying to get on that field because we obviously in Bear River High School you can look and see 12 championships over the last 25 years. We have a significant number of softball players, and we're always looking for places to play. Playing at the high school is a great opportunity for them to come in and see what's there. Historically, when we've done some upgrades like this with athletic facilities, we've more than quadrupled the amount of events and people that are playing on the fields. And that goes all the way down to 4th, 5th, 6th graders that are able to come up and use those facilities because of the nature of what they end up being and the way that we're able to allow them on without any damage to the fields.
So I guess part of how I see this is just, we have this field that is getting used this much, and us investing in this field and upgrading it, I can see it looking like a want, but I can also see it, then you're able to use it so much more, and it's then a usable space. I hate in my home like a closet that's full of crap, and like I can't use the closet and it drives me nuts. And so I feel like it's advantageous of us to say, like, our state, I mean, our area is going to be really hit hard with water this next year because we don't have much. That how hard would it, I mean, it just costs a lot of money to maintain that. So I understand that we see it as a want, but I also see it as a need of just being able to see the long-term effect of how this will benefit our school and the people that have to maintain it and work on it, the hours that they spend to do that every week. Like, it's not fair for them also to be asked. I mean, I don't know. You're the one that takes care of it. Are you getting paid, an extra little bonus there on the side? No. So it is a voluntary thing. So let's say you leave, who's going to take that up? It's not a workable system, and we have amazing people in our district that work really hard to keep our facilities going and to keep things looking nice. And people retire at some point in their lives. And I'm just saying that, we don't know who's going to fill in those shoes next time, and if they're not willing to, it's just going to be then dead space. Also, and I don't know if this really plays into this, but I listened to the Bear River Live that you were just on, and they talked about how many students go through these baseball programs and what a blessing, and they're talking about, them going off to college and getting scholarships. Like, it is extracurricular, it is good, but it makes it so students want to come to school and they want to keep their grades up and they want to participate. It's a culture. It makes people like where they're at. And so I think it's investing in more than just $500,000. I think it's investing in showing that our students that we care, we do care. And maybe, I don't know, I'm not gonna belittle my comments. I'm going to say that and I'll be done.
No, this wouldn't be a discussion at all without an extremely generous donation of $500,000. This wouldn't be a discussion. So, anyone else? We have a second. We have a motion and a second.
Correct.
So all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This is of approval of private donation over $50,000. Number 4.
Me.
Okay, so we have 6 for and 1 no, and that motion passes. Now we're moving on to number 5, the approval of request for matching funds for private donation to BRHS.
Do we want to invite Clay and Dave to come present this?
I mean, I think it's, we've done lots with it, but if there's any other questions, we're happy, Dave has the
I think you've seen the letter in front of you. We were just merely following the policy that goes forward, that we can request a donation of a match of a private donation according to that subsection 3 of the policy. And so that's what we were here today to do. For the reasons that have been mentioned, some of the reasons are upkeep, some of the reasons are equity and fairness to both our lady and gentleman athletes, and then the service to the community. So I don't know that there's much more we would say, nor could I, with my voice, probably say it, but sorry about that. So we would entertain any questions, but and obviously timing on that could be, as you said, it's for the next budget cycle. But I suspect if things are in play per se, that maybe as they look at the equity there, they would realize there's a plan that the district's trying to, working with limited resources to move forward.
I guess I would just request, it was mentioned that there might be community members that would help the softball field as well, that we actively go out and request that so that we can get some community support and maybe help there as well.
Absolutely.
Just want to bring up again that doing this at Bear River is great. If you guys can come up with both sides of it, but whatever. But I think it will ripple in, and within a short time we will be seeing that we'll have the same requests from Box Elder, that they don't want to play on their field like we got from the football. So again, I think it's a domino effect that the 500,000 would then encumber the district more than the 500,000 coming out of the other side.
I would add to that comment, just as the football field, when we turfed the football field at Box Elder, we were under the impression that they had raised the funds necessary so that if we matched it, it would go forward. And we didn't wait till we had that money in hand like we should have. I think if we would have waited, they could have gotten it and would have gotten it in due time. But following policy in this case is what's so important. And I would love to see our both high schools get this, but yeah, we wouldn't be having this discussion without Mr. and Mrs. Green's $500,000 donation.
And I would just like to make the comment that I think it's, we have different donors that have specific interests and want to donate to specific areas. And I know on each end of the district, there are different interests. I mean, I don't know specifics, but I know that there has been significant donations given to Box Elder High School for the arts, for example, and the theater program, which is a fabulous program, and they're very generous and doing those things. And we haven't necessarily matched a large amount like this, but when we have someone come and say, I'm willing to give you this, I just feel like we need to say, wow, thank you, and we will do everything we can. And when it's fiscally, like when we have the money for it and the benefit that it's going to come, like present and long term for our, like, and people are like, well, I don't play sports, it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, well, you know, you don't know, like a 6th grader or a 5th grader. Like I have kids that do things that I never would have thought. I'm like, really, you want to try that? Well, okay, let's go, you know. And just having it available and accessible to the community. And like just like the FFA hosts this national, or not national, like Northern Utah Invitational, what kind of events could Bear River High School host now with a field like this? And we could utilize those more. So I think it's a little bit, and if Box Elder came and said, we want to do the same thing, or if they want to say, we want to do something with it in a different program, we would say, let's see if we can make this work if we have the money. And as Neil has given us with our projections and our capital reserves, we have the money to do it. And I think it would be a benefit now and long-term in the future. And I think we'll reap those benefits for years to come.
One of the things I think that Clay alluded to, but I think can be mentioned again, when they added the turf, that many of the feeder programs for lacrosse, for soccer, for football, could then have an access where they couldn't have it before. As Clay mentioned, basically, if we want to keep the field to where it needs to be for the Utah High School standards and safety, we really can't let the feeder programs use those per se. Where we have a significant, as you know, the reason that we have state champion teams is because there's a desire from the young age to do that. And yet, I think that would it would be greatly utilized by the feeder programs. It's kind of names what you're kind of alluding to.
I would add to your comment about the safety. My son was playing on junior high field just today in another district, and he took a bad hop on the ball and knocked his front tooth out. The safety issue is real.
Can I ask a question? I had been told, this has been a couple years ago, that if we have a private donor that comes in and donates to one high school, then let's say they say we want new band uniforms for Box Elder, then the foundation would usually match that and give, like, if it was $10,000 for band uniforms, then the foundation would match that and give $10,000 to Bear River and it wasn't earmarked. Is that still the case?
My understanding was the foundation would cover for athletics.
But I'm just saying, has that been the case in the past? The foundation, do they
I
match
don't
high
have those
school?
bylaws right in front of me.
No, that's one of the 4 cores, and it's nothing to do with that. I thought I turned on the activities.
So that isn't in place anymore, that if one school gets a foundation, a private donor, then the foundation
Depends on
isn't trying
what
to
it's for.
equal.
If one of the things that they have done is one of the foundation's cores is fine arts. And so we've had donors donate that wanted to go into the drama program, the music program. Then the foundation will match their funds, because or at least give some. There's not absolute match thing, but that's, the foundation doesn't do activities, sports, things like that.
Is that matched to
The other school.
opposite school, or just to the?
I think it's just to the, it's just to the
I'm just
donors.
trying to see if that's,
Having served on the, I don't have the policies in front of me, but having served on the foundation board for a while now, I think that that process is up to discussion just like this one is. The foundation board decides what money goes where. And I have.
Within their bylaws.
Within the bylaws. I don't think, I haven't, since I've been on the board, a donation has not, I haven't had that experience.
thanks.
But the board meets and discusses just like this discussion and decides where those funds go.
And then I don't know that we've said it in this meeting, but we did say it in the previous one, that the foundation doesn't match our help with athletics. So just want that on the record too.
All right, do we have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education approve the request of district funds to match the donation from Roger V. and Karen D. Green, trust in the amount of $500,000.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion to that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, that's, motion passes 6-1. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here tonight.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Okay, we're moving.
Madam President, before you get to 6 and 7, F6 and F7, we do have on the agenda tonight to go into closed session to discuss the sale lease of real property, and both F6 and F7. We've had recent discussions in both of these areas, and we'd like to talk to the board in closed session prior to coming back into open session to present these two items.
So we need a motion.
So do you want to table these until
Yeah.
after that, or it is possible to go into closed session now, but generally we table these till after closed session and wait towards the end.
I would like to propose an amendment to the agenda to table
F6 and
F6 and F7, approval of purchase of real estate and approval of lease agreement to be voted on at the end of this meeting following discussion in closed session.
I'll second.
Hold on, I have
Oh,
one more. And I would also ask to amend to add an item in G, so, an update, to allow an update from Corey Thompson on the Lakeview sewer situation. So move it to G1, and then move everything else down. Does that work?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion we have a motion and a second on that amendment of the agenda. Any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So we're going to move to item G1, which is now having Corey talk to us about the sewer, what's being done with the situation at Lakeview.
Okay, so when was it that we talked about this in the last work session, but maybe not everybody was here.
2 weeks ago.
So as an update, as some background, Lakeview Elementary School, the configuration has 4 sections, and each of those sections of classrooms has 4 classrooms. We'll call them quads. And then there's a newer classroom hallway with some newer classrooms.
Corey, is it the same as, like, that's how North Park was built with the
Very,
quads?
very similar to North Park, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not exactly the same footprint, but the same general idea. So, not too long ago, we had a mainline sewer break at Lakeview. And at Lakeview, we have access tunnels for utilities. So some of those utilities are available or accessible through the tunnels, and some of those utilities are actually buried under concrete floors. This mainline sewer break affected the northwest quad of classrooms, the office, sick room, restroom, the staff restrooms, and also the kitchen of what they can use the drains for.
So my crew went in there and repaired what they could, but what they found when they cameraed in there is some of the buried sewer line has actually deteriorated to the point that the cast iron has collapsed and allowed some of the fill, some of the gravel and dirt to come into the sewer line and make it so that we couldn't put anything down that sewer line. So they were able to, my crew was able to get the sewer line to the point that the kitchen can still put just plain water down. They can't use a garbage disposal or anything like that, but they can wash hands, they can wash vegetables, so the kitchen is still functioning to that point. But the other restrooms, so staff restroom, northwest quad, office restroom, are not able to be used at this time. So we've been working with contractors. There are two parts to this that need to be repaired. We have the cast iron sewer lines within the tunnel space that we need to replace those lines with new pipe, but then the buried sewer lines, it's a more expensive way to do it is to reline the pipe with it's an epoxy filament. It's more expensive than just replacing the pipe until you have to start breaking out floors. And that's what we would have to do to replace the actual pipe. So in that case, it's cheaper to actually use the filament liner. So we're actually approaching this from two directions. One, we have to replace some actual accessible pipe. And the other one is that where the sewer lines have collapsed and allowing dirt and gravel into there, we will line those. In order to do that, we actually need to cut into the floor, the concrete floor. If you're familiar with Lakeview, you walk in the front door, the office is to your left, you walk into the main hallway and you go right. At the end of that hallway, we would actually need to cut open the floor probably about 6 foot square and maybe 4 feet down. That's pretty invasive to just go in there tomorrow and do that with all of our students in there. And so our plan right now, everybody cross your fingers that this works, is that during spring break, which is just a couple of weeks away, the contractor will go in there and cut that hole. When they access the pipe, then they can install a clean out. And they will get a vacuum truck in there. They will clean out all of the debris, which is just, it's gravel and dirt, that they'll clean that out and get it clean enough that they can line the pipe with that filament, the epoxy filament. That will get us to the point that we can reopen the restrooms. And then in the summer, the plan would be that we replace the actual pipe in the tunnels. That's our plan right now. So everything goes well, we can have the restrooms back up and usable after spring break. This repairs that section of the school. It does not address the other parts of the school. So that would be the next phase, is we want to do some preventative maintenance on Lakeview, North Park, Bear River Middle School, and Box Elder Middle School, which all four of those buildings have had these similar issues, as you're aware. But that's the update on Lakeview. Question?
Corey, just for clarification, in the summer, you would go in and do the same thing to all of those quads, or not?
Right now, the bid and what we're looking at is just that one section that we know is
for spring break
an issue.
Okay.
In the summer, we'd replace that pipe. I've worked with Neil on some budget. We would. You don't want to change your tires on your car if they're not to that point yet. So what we'd want to do is camera the lines so that we actually know what's in there and get a game plan so that we're not going in there and relining pipe that actually doesn't need it right now, that we're good for it. But that would be the next step, instead of just going in and replacing everything. Is the next step would be to camera, do some investigation and find out what.
When would you be doing that? Would that be soon that you?
Yeah, so the contractor that is going to reline, they can also, we have a camera on our crew that goes down in the pipes, but we can only reach 100 feet. So we need a contract with a longer camera that can investigate some of those areas. They can, it's not a super invasive thing. It can be done after school. It can even be done during school. You know, students might see the contractors near the clean out where they have to put the camera in. But they could do that during spring break. They could do that so that we have a plan, a game plan for summer. So
I would hate to see Lakeview students in this same situation in a year or two.
absolutely, absolutely. That's why we want to start looking at this as a preventative maintenance rather than an emergency, oh no, what do we do now?
Along with North Park and Bear River Middle
Yes.
and Box Elder Middle.
Yes, and I've already had conversations with Neil about that. But moving forward, we've had enough surprises in those 4 buildings that, oh no, what do we do? Bear River Middle School had to go virtual learning for a couple of days because it was not a pleasant environment. So we've talked about that, trying to be more preventative than reactive. So.
Corey, it sounds like you're taking the lessons learned from this and trying to be more proactive. Are you looking broadly enough across the whole district at these issues, or?
So
you mentioned a few schools that we're going to go do some preventive check with camera. Or are you looking broadly enough?
So those are the 4 schools that we are most concerned of right now, and that's what would be our initial push. McKinley and Century would be the next age-wise that we want to look at. The sewer backups can happen in a brand new building, and I'll give you an example. At Box Elder High School, or sorry, Box Elder Middle School, we had some sewer backing up. We had to close a restroom, and it had nothing to do with deteriorating pipes. It had to do with, a student flushed a vape down the toilet because they didn't want to get caught.
Was this in the bathroom I called you about?
Actually, it was. It was.
I was
And
the
it was-
lucky beneficiary that
yeah.
is texting Corey at, what was it,
It
like
was- it was
8:30
after
at night?
yeah.
And said,
Yeah.
the bathroom's flooding.
Yeah, and so as my crew goes in there and tries to get that clog cleaned out, typically what happens, if it's something that the jetter will break up, then it'll break up and just go down the line. But otherwise it pushes the problem, and that's what happens when you have anything that's not going to be broken up by a jetter. Which is going to, human waste and toilet paper, that's going to get broken up by a jetter. But when you have a vape pen, it's not, it just gets pushed, and then they were able to get it to a clean out and remove it.
My question is, so during this project of breaking up the cement and exposing that, how long does it usually take? And is this going to be pushing them to hurry that through, or are we worried that it won't get finished by the time spring break is over?
Yeah, so the contractor is confident that they will not need all of spring break to do this.
Awesome.
So they'll come in, cut the floor, jackhammer it out, dig down to where they need to reach the pipe, attach a clean out that comes up to the floor level, fill that back in. We may not have the actual tile flooring back on, the vinyl tile flooring, but it won't be an impediment to students traveling to the school.
Thank you.
That's to cross your fingers. Okay? Any other questions on that? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Corey.
Not a question, just a thank you for doing all you can to make sure that we can get through this. And to the parents of Lakeview students, we're sorry. Hopefully we can get this resolved short term over the spring break and then look at it more in the facility during the summer. Thank you for your patience.
All right, thank you. We're going to move to now G2 for our monthly financial report.
So we're gonna go backwards on the lists here. So if you go to the very last one, final WPUs. So I want to give a brief background on this right here. So WPU stands for Weighted Pupil Unit. It's the methodology the legislature uses to distribute funds to school districts. And WPUs are based upon each funding source and how many units are calculated. Some funding sources use the October 1 count as the basis for calculating funding. Other funding sources may use what we call ADM, average daily membership. So the October 1 count is a count point in time, counts the number of students enrolled in a particular district or charter school on that day. Daily membership looks at how many students are enrolled in a particular charter school or district on that throughout this entire school year. So the basis is 180 school days. That's going to be 100% of your membership or daily enrollments for a student. And obviously the less days are enrolled, that goes down. So what this does is as students come and go, that lowers our daily membership rate from the number of students we have there. And it's across all programs. So with that backdrop here, we can see what we have estimated from the state board of what we would have had for WPUs in last May. And they're estimating, they try their best, but it's hard to know how many students are coming and going throughout the year. So based on October 1 of the prior year, they estimate what we'll have, what they think we'll have, plus some other metric growths that they get from the Kim C. Carter Institute of Policy, how many WPUs we should have. So if you look at the column, it would be the fourth column over. They were estimating in the K-12 grades, our biggest funding source, a 0.18% growth factor from fiscal 25 to fiscal 26. That did not materialize. Our actual numbers for our ADM would become available to the state board they're due, I think, on July 15th. They go through a data quality review and they make sure that there's no double counting of students, because this is by the student that they're counted on. So each student has a state assigned, what we call SSID. And they go through a validation, make sure students aren't double counted. They validate that all the information the background we've given matches their data standards and in the format that they requested it in. So it would take some time to go through this, to validate this. Plus you have to wait for the October 1 count. So long story short is we as a district don't receive the final updated amounts from the estimates until November-ish, sometime December. So what we've received here, actually in our first program, K-12, we actually had a decrease of 0.8% from the estimates. The net change from fiscal 25 was actually a decrease of 0.63%. In other words, from our estimates, we actually lost funding in our K-12 program. And it goes down throughout these different sections here, different programs. Foreign exchange is a very small program. I think it would be like $50,000. It actually went up a little bit. Necessary existing small schools, that went up as well. That's primarily received funding for that for Snowville, Park Valley Elementary and Secondary, and our Grouse Creek schools. Then we go down special education add-on. You can see we had a 2% reduction from our legislative estimates, but overall from year over year we had a 5.6% increase. And we go down to these different ones here, but essentially in the day we had about from a funding source perspective, about a $2 million decrease from the legislative estimates that the state board produced last May till now. So there's a $2 million reduction in revenue this year. How do we make that up? Well, that's why we have a fund reserve account for these types of things, where it's almost, the state board has tried really hard over the years to find a methodology to be more accurate in their estimates to actuals, and it just proves very difficult. Students move, we're almost here a high mobile population, but in our area is easy to move and pick up and move. And we have a lot going back and forth between different districts that are neighboring, so it's difficult to estimate where we're going to be at. They do their best, but this is where we're at today on these things. Keith, can you go to the next attachment? Mid-year update. So that sets the table for where we're flowing, where we're going with this. This translates into funding. And so we can see, maybe Keith can zoom in a little bit more there, so we can.
Yeah. I'm going to have to find the bottom bar so I can go back. Up. Give me some guidance.
Go up top. Very top. Probably our, what we want to focus on is our top line, our K-12 line. Go higher up there, there we go. And I apologize for this small type. Can you zoom in a little bit more there? Trying to find the page. There we go. All right, K-12. So our final amount we received was $41,000 last year. We are estimated to receive 44 million. 41 million last year. What we ended up with 44 million is where we estimated to be at, and we landed on 43 million. So we are about $1 million short on this year. That's because of the reduction of our K-12 WPUs from estimates to actuals, as I spoke previously in the previous attachment. As we go through this, there's some ebbs and flows of our final amounts we're receiving. Bottom line is, on unrestricted dollars, we're about $2 million less than what the state board estimated to receive. Majority of that is for reduction of number of WPUs allocated based on reduction of number of days of students we had. I'm not sure if that, I would attribute most of that to our late school year move-ins, because the late school year move-in is going to have a fraction of the membership days as someone who moves in the beginning of the school year. So that brings down our average daily membership, specifically when someone comes in April or May. You know, when families move, that's not something that they can control. It's just when it happens. So I would ask the board if you have any questions at this point. No? Okay.
Well, so if it's, I know that the projection, what you're saying is that we're 3 million.
2 million.
2 million low.
Yes.
Does that, we just come up with, we have to make up the difference?
Correct. This is why we have a reserve or a fund balance in operations to make up for these differences, variation in students, changes in estimates, and also unexpected expenditures or lack of revenue. So if all of a sudden the county was collecting 10% less of the estimated tax revenue, we would have to pull the difference from our fund balance. This is why the Government Financial Officers Association, GFOA, and also ASBO, which is the Association of School Business Officers, recommends that we have approximately 3 months worth of expenditures saved in a fund balance account for situations just like this that I described.
So this isn't unique, like this happens, I mean, I'm not saying regularly, but this is a very common thing that happens.
Coming from my experience at the state board as a special education finance director, this happens often.
Okay.
The estimates where we think we're going to be at from the state board, where they end up at, is notoriously difficult to pin down with accuracy. We try our best, we try different methodologies, we forecast different ways, but because students are mobile and students don't always materialize and growth numbers and births and deaths, it's just hard to get there.
Do we ever end in a positive, like?
Sometimes, yeah.
Too many? Too much? Oh, heavens.
Sometimes our high growth districts will actually end up higher. Charter schools, a new charter school opens up, oftentimes if they're in high demand, they will get more students than they anticipated. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen sometimes.
So you mentioned that they like to have 3 months saved up in their fund balance. What
Correct.
would that be for us? What would that number be?
I want to say right around $35 million based on last year's expenditures or the budgeted amount.
And what do we have?
About 28.
Thanks.
Neil, will you just clarify for us, needed or not, the difference between general funds and capital funds?
General funds will pay for.
I know the difference, but just that those funds are not, they can't move back and forth, right?
Correct.
Everything you just mentioned is general.
General fund.
Right?
Correct.
Okay.
So the majority of our state-provided support is restricted to operation of the general fund. It cannot be used for capital purchases. If you have programs you wish to use capital purchase for, most programs require permission from the state board to be able to do that.
So the 28 million in reserve is reserved specifically for general fund.
General fund.
Correct.
Not the same amount, or not, there's a different amount in a capital reserve.
That's correct. Any other questions on this update here? Okay. Keith, can we move to the last attachment?
That I can do.
Very, very top here. Okay, so this is this month's rather, as of the end of February, our financial statement, in other words. And it lists in the various areas how much revenue collected versus our budget amounts, and it compares where we're at from last year. The highlight of this is that including other sources of local revenue. So we have our property tax assessments, we have our fee in lieu, which is motor vehicle registrations, other fees that county assesses in lieu of a property tax. We also have redemptions or past due property taxes that are paid, interest on that past due property tax, and personal business property tax also. That all flows in here. When we combine all those together, we have collected approximately 91% of our estimated needs in our operations from our local sources. We're doing very well there. We still have business taxes, personal property taxes to collect, both personal and business, and those come in the last month of the year. So what we're seeing here is we're actually receiving more revenue from redemptions or tax, past due taxes and fee in lieu than we estimated at the beginning of the year. So our revenue is in a good place. Our expenditures, as you go down through these different areas here, they're in line with past year's expenditures. Keith, if you go to line 23, you can see the first percentage there. We're a little bit higher on percentage of salaries spent versus budget. We've had a few hires here. We have a few retirements coming up, where we're hiring people to come in and learn the new position prior to the person retiring to preserve that knowledge base. So we have some increases there, but we're still within our budgets. I did not anticipate that on the operations side of salaries and benefits that we will have a need to use any fund reserve for anything there. We are in a good spot, and we have sufficient funds to continue to be within our budget and address emergency needs as they come up.
Can I just ask a question? I know that a lot of teachers get sent on things.
Professional development opportunities?
Yeah. And does that come out of, where does that get paid out of?
That comes out of our operations fund. So we have restricted sources oftentimes that are given for those specific purposes, such as TSSA and School Land Trust that provides for professional development. Those funds are accounted for in our operations funds. They cannot be used to purchase capital items.
But those are decided by community councils.
Correct. So we account for them as far as our budget item goes in aggregate. This local community councils and schools decide what items those get spent on. And they provide us that list, and we put them into our accounting system as a budget, and I watch that every non-payroll expenditure that the district incurs comes across me for approval. So I'm checking to make sure we're within budget on all those payments. If we're not in budget, we'll ask questions, figure out what happened. Sometimes we have combined budgets that flow into one budget. So I'm watching that on a daily basis.
Well, I have a question. Sure. On line 9,
okay.
Rental fees. It's at 113%. Does that track higher through second trimester, I guess, because buildings are rented more through winter, or have we actually seen an increase? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. We actually changed our our rental fee schedule a while back to be more in line with our actual costs when other community groups come and rent our building. So part of that is that, and also part of it is increased rentals. We invested in a scheduling platform where individuals can schedule buildings or different areas online in the secondary schools rather than have to call. So I think that having that resource online lends to people scheduling more often than having to call a secretary and wait for a call back that's unavailable and go through that process.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else for Neil on this?
I have a question. When we, like, I know buildings are rental, what about like fields and things like that for like community? Is that a rental fee?
That goes in as well. Generally, if it's a non-profit organization, think like a soccer team with a 501c3, we would waive that rental fee. But if there is custodial and maintenance staff required to be present or clean up after them or be there available, we charge for their time, but we would not charge for the actual facility use.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Appreciate those numbers. Those final WPUs, I've never seen those numbers put up for us like that. It's good to see. Thanks. All right, board committee reports. Does anyone have a report from a committee assignment that you have?
Just some updates. As I think Tiffany sent out the email, March 20th is the Boys and Girls ribbon cutting. So you're invited to that. And March 6th and 7th is the BTEC Career Day, and you're invited to attend that if you would like.
Karen, will you remind us of that? Will you send us a text or an email just of the BTEC dates? We all got the Boys and Girls Club, but
I think the BTEC sent one out either yesterday or today, so you should have an email with it.
Good. I'll check. And if I don't have it, I'll check spam.
If you don't have it, let me know and I will resend it to you.
Okay, thanks so much. I appreciate that. Anybody else with a board committee report? I serve on the Dignity Committee, which covers like our, anyway, I went to the Chinese dual immersion Chinese New Year celebration. It was awesome. I would, anytime you get it, next year when they do it, it was a great program. It was good.
Are you gonna do the board or the student board?
I absolutely am right now. And Michaela, we're so glad that you could join us. And I forgot to excuse you. I got the text, but Michaela's on the drill team at Box Elder High School, and they had their team dinner tonight. So that's why she was a little late. But thanks for coming.
Yeah, sorry, it was supposed to end at 6 and it went a little longer.
Well, you're a national champion drill team, so we gotta go a little longer, right?
Yeah. Well, this week or this month, they're doing like a March Madness between all of like the schools, the middle schools, the high schools, with like attendance percentages. And so like this week we're against Box Elders against Bear River, the high schools. So they're doing like a little rivalry week. They're like doing dress up days, and then there's a couple of games against each other. Like lacrosse is playing today, Bear River and Box Elder. So they're having just like a big little like dinner beforehand, and then they play like the dress up.
5 after 3.
Oh.
Out there.
It's like I don't know what it is, but like the dress ups today, Bear River did beekeepers. They did like a whiteout, and then Box Elder did bear hunters. They did camo. And then tomorrow is like a throwback decades, and then Friday they're doing red out and purple out. And that's just like a little competition between the schools. Last I heard, Bear River's winning, so I don't know about the numbers today, but. And then prom's coming up. Our Box Elders is this Saturday. It's at Castle Manor in Logan. And then Bear Rivers is the 28th at the same place, Castle Manor. Those are the next dances coming up. I don't know which ones are next, but I think they're in April. That's pretty much all that's going on.
Thanks so much. We'll talk about drill team next month. Okay. Okay. Congratulations. Thank you for keeping us up to date on what our kids are doing at the high schools. So thanks so much, Michaela, for your report. G3 is the February Employee Appreciation list, and I love looking over those every month. I hope you all take the chance to do that. We are now going into our policy review and to H1, policy to delete.
Make a motion that we approve policies to delete and policies with no changes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, that motion passes. H2, policies with no changes.
Oh, wait,
Oh, we just did that one, sorry.
H3.
All of them. I didn't scroll far enough, I apologize. Now we are at H3, policies of first reading.
Just a question on policy 4060, page 10. Let me see if we can get there quick. As I was reading that, I think the question is on 3A, 3 and 4, it says that we have the satisfaction of coursework demonstrated under policies established. Are those policies already in place for what it's referencing in 3 and 4?
talking? Is
So 3A3?
So we are 4060,
3A3.
page 10,
Yeah.
3A3. Satisfaction of coursework by demonstrated competency under policies established by the district. So those policies are already in place.
So policy 4059 is on second read, which is this focused graduation pathway program. So I think that
That's
being
what this
approved,
is.
and this is referring to that.
Okay, so I didn't know that those were the two, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
And then if you go to 5 and 6 in that same area, evaluation of student work or projects consistent with the district or school procedures and criteria. Would that be like across the whole class, or is this like if one particular student needed that? How does that
So we've
work?
had some people that have quote unquote gone to a private school and brought in homework or brought in assessments and work that could be reviewed as part of whether or not that could be accepted in Gen Ed credit. And that's just an option that could potentially happen. And depending on what it is and the extent of it, it may give some leverage, but it may say, okay, we're going to have you still do a competency-based test to know if you really are at a level, or we maybe take a MAP assessment that might give us an idea if they're relevant and proficient in math science, or math language arts, excuse me.
So those two wouldn't necessarily be for students in a regular classroom?
Now, this would be generally people from outside of the district that are now coming in, maybe their sophomore year, and they're wanting some,
More like a credit transfer in college.
kind of like a credit transfer, but they're asking it from their home school.
Non-accredited.
Non-accredited school to say, would this count? And so we would look at their work, we'd look at their projects, we would decide, does it meet the standards of a specific class in grades 9 through 12, and decide that counts, we would award credit, or that doesn't count, or you're close, we'd like you to take the competency test for that area to grant credit.
And is this based pretty much off of a state policy, or is this something?
Yeah, this just was a state policy. It was interesting, it was called graduation credit, and we already had 4060 and have had for some time. To create a specific another graduation credit policy from the state mandated policy, we just felt like putting it inside of 4060 because it's all about graduation would be the appropriate place. We certainly could put it somewhere else, I just don't know what you call it, because the state called it graduation requirements, which is what 4060 is, so we just stuck it there.
Okay, so I guess my point is this isn't something Box Elder School District did on their own. This is something we're just trying to incorporate.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And I don't know, remember, we talked about this last week, or last month. Focused Graduation Pathway Program is something for a kid who says, I want to go get my GED. Well, generally, the process right now, when a kid wants to get their GED, they go to Sunrise, and Sunrise says, we'll help you with your GED. And they are no longer eligible for any kind of high school diploma. 24 credit, or in our case, 30 at Bear River and Box Elder. So their only route is, once you say you're going GED, you're going to go GED. This focused graduation pathway program, which you did first read last month, will allow somebody to actually say, I've done some good things. I've earned some credit my freshman, sophomore year, and now my junior year I'm behind. I'm not sure school's for me. I may want to just go GED. They can actually take the GED exams in those 4 areas, math, science, language, arts, and social studies, and if they pass that, they actually can earn 13 credits. So, you know, it's based on 4, 3, 3, 3. Anyway, the point is, this is something brand new. We talked to some friends at Davis School District. They have about 25 in the entire Davis School District that are now jumping into this focused graduation pathway program. I don't know what our interest will be, but it will be an option as our counselors, thank you Ben, talk to students about options.
Keith?
Yeah.
You scrolled up a couple of lines. It does talk exactly about what you just talked about, I think, in letter B. Just scroll up.
Oh.
Where you're at right now.
Oh, come on.
You froze?
I saw that highlighted in B, but I didn't know if the two went together and if it applied to regular
On the
class.
bottom of 10 and the top of 11.
Bottom of 10, top of 11.
Right there, and that, it talks about what you just, I think it just, isn't that kind of what you just talked about? And that was that 4059.
So I will admit, I don't totally understand all this process, but I have been working with Mr. Rasmussen at Sunrise High School, and we're in the, you know, we're in cahoots. And if we get second approval of the 4059, then we're going to jump in, get a plan put in place. We'll work with counselors and Sunrise High School and family and parents, students, to make sure that if that's an option, they've got it.
But they would be technically going to then Sunrise and graduating from them. It's not that they're going to be able to graduate from Box Elder Bear River, but then they would be transferring to do their GED program and graduate in the graduation walking diploma, whatever, at Sunrise.
Yeah, and the reason why is this focused graduation pathway program, you have to be credit deficit to access it. So a kid who's wanting to get a 30 most likely is not credit deficit. So this really will probably be for those that are seeking a 24 credit diploma.
With that, I'd make a motion that we approve policies on first and second reading.
I'd second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of first and second reading. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. We are moving on to the board discussion items, and Superintendent Carlson has a legislative update for us.
Okay. I'm kind of surprised that Representative Peterson's here and still standing. I think after the last 45 days, ending Friday night, he'd want to stay home one night. But Keith, would you mind clicking on that final bill tracker from, this is a bill tracker that Lexi Cunningham shares with us. And it just talks a little bit about...
You want the no subject or the bills?
The final bill tracker, yeah.
What's that?
Final bill tracker.
It's in the
one that's in the
Oh,
attachment.
Sorry.
Sorry,
you're talking right there.
You're talking about the email.
Yeah, okay,
While
sorry.
Keith finds that, can I just clarify? I know we as a board understand how this works, how JLC works. When Superintendent Carlson says we supported this bill or we asked for changes on this bill, when he says we, the Joint Legislative Committee is a committee made up of representatives from school districts across the state. Board members and superintendents vote on that. So when he says we, that's the JLC.
It's a big committee.
It's a huge committee. I mean, board members and superintendents from every district in the state has representatives there. So That's what that means.
Okay, thank you. And we meet on Fridays, and there are times when some of the bill sponsors, either representative or senators, will come and present those, their bills and try to get support from us. There are times when, and mostly what ends up happening is Lexi Cunningham, who is our Utah School Superintendents Association Executive Director, her, in conjunction with leadership from the Utah School Superintendents Association, our 41 school districts elect, every year we have 4 members in our leadership. We have a second vice president, first vice president, president, past president. They collectively, with Lexi, and then also the Utah School Boards Association has a leadership, and I think all they have is a vice president, president, and past president. Anyway, those people are very active during the legislative session. Once we discuss a bill on that Friday session, they will then, during the week, listen to what we have suggested, talked about, and to, if it's a bill that we kind of like and just see some tweaks that are needed, they will go and try to, work with them and see if they can get them to have those changes made. If it's a bill that we really, really dislike, they will go to the sponsor of the bill and tell them why we dislike it. And if they are bills that are in education, we take some kind of a motion on most every bill. And for this past session, yeah.
Can I just make a point that most groups have paid lobbyists, right?
Yeah.
And this, in a sense, they are our lobbyists.
Yes.
And we don't have separate.
Yeah. Lexi is paid, but she's our executive director all year long and takes care of all of our training, and she's incredibly busy all year long. And she's, anymore, as Representative Peterson, I'm sure, would be able to tell us that legislation is not just a 45-day process. It's pretty much a whole year process. And just as soon as the session ends, they're already talking about the interim, what will happen in the next few months, several months, even through the summer, trying to see what's going on. But as we look at the bills, one of the ones that right off the very beginning was kind of an eye raiser, for lack of a better word, and I can't remember right now, maybe Tom or what bill number it was, but it was basically retention of third grade students who do not pass the reading assessment, literacy assessment. And when that was first introduced, it was actually, I think, right at the first of the session, maybe even a little bit before, and our governor was pushing it, and also some of the state entrepreneurs. And at first, I will be honest with you, we first heard it from I just lost his name. The governor's public, big, tall.
Oh, yeah.
Rich Nye, thank you. Boy, did I blank on that one. Rich Nye, we first heard about it before the session started, and of course, right off the bat, it was hot and heavy that you don't know what this is going to do, and research says that third graders, it hurts them socially, emotionally, and throughout the next several weeks after that first shock wave, there was a lot of talk and work done, and they're quite frankly, and this is unique, they're following a model from Mississippi, and Mississippi, I think, has been doing this for a few years, and interestingly enough, now that Mississippi's been doing this for a few years, they're within sight of the literacy passing grades that we have. They're still well below us, but they can see how well we're doing. Does that make sense, what I just said? Okay, I didn't want to be too facetious, however, I was. In light of that comment, what the whole purpose of the bill is not to sit back and wait to see if students can or cannot read by the third grade. The whole purpose of the bill is to put resources, to put training, to put efforts towards taking care of kids from maybe even preschool, but certainly in kindergarten, to get them to the point where at the third grade level, they will be able to pass that reading assessment. And they talking about looking harder at retaining a student in kindergarten, talking to the parents. Currently we can do that. Or even possibly more first grade. See if we can get them the resources then. The emotional, social impact on a kindergartner to be retained is not as high as a third grader. And so I think there's been some money that was appropriated through this bill to allow for more aides, more paraprofessionals to help with those reading interventions. And there's a lot of things in place. I talked to Catherine just this week, our SPED director, and one of the things is if we are able to ascertain that a student is not reading at grade level, that they can put in 2 years of very intensive interventions and show that we've done the work, and it still did not help that student with an IEP get up to that bar, then they can go ahead and go forward. There are other, I hate to say this term, but there are other, I'll say loopholes. I don't think that's necessarily the correct way to say it, but there are other exemptions. Thank you. That's much more politically correct, to get through that area. And you know, for years, I think one of our mantras has been in public education in elementary, in K3 you learn to read, and from 3rd grade on up you read to learn. And so I don't think there's anybody that has anything to do with education that doesn't understand the absolute importance of reading by the 3rd grade. Now that being said, I will tell you that he's not going to know that I say this, but I have a grandson that goes to Box Elder School District, and he was always, when I would go into his school, they would have a room that was very tightly kept, and he would always be down at the very bottom in his reading. And he struggled with reading. He had an IEP for reading. He's had great interventions, great teachers, and I am not sure what that would have done to him if he'd have been held back in the 3rd grade, and according to the statistics right now, he would. Now, he's an 8th grader. And I think some of the thing we've talked about in this room before at the board meeting is competency-based grading. And I don't know why that has worked out so well for him, because he's really quite smart. He just, I'm not gonna lie, he just doesn't necessarily do all the homework. And that homework missing piled up to cause him to have bad, worse grades. For the first trimester and the second trimester this year, his worst grade was a C. He had mostly A's and some B's. And so as I look at that, just all the interventions and all the help, and honestly, I went to parent-teacher conference. His dad, who's my stepson, is not totally involved hardly at all, and his mom just works a lot of hours and does the best that she can. So I get involved, and my wife and I went to parent-teacher conference, and it kind of made me kind of feel good, because I was talking to one teacher. In a way, it made me feel good, but he said, when we were talking back and forth, and I mentioned some of my thoughts about education, he said, "Oh, what do you do for?" I told my superintendent. He was embarrassed, and then he, of course, remembered and says, "I don't get out enough, I guess." And anyway, it made me feel good that I know the work is being done for students in our school district, for all kids, not just the superintendent's grandson, but it's for all kids, and they're all getting treated great, and they're all getting the interventions they need. So, that being said, any questions about that particular bill? I know that it doesn't take effect until 2030? Does anybody ring a bell on that one, Catherine?
29, 2030.
2930? Okay, so we have those, I think it's next year's kindergartners. Is that will be tested in that age range. So we do have that time to really put that focus into it, and I think ultimately it could be positive for kids.
So can I just ask?
Sure.
So, you know, everything sounded great about what you said relative to that. But if a teacher, counselor, or parent determined the best thing was to move that child forward, they would have no choice but have to hold them back from that bill?
I think there is some exemption for that as well. If the team gets together and says for this student if they don't have an IEP, then it's possible, I think, that exemption could take place.
Okay.
So I think that's one of those exemptions that are in place, but I think overall people would probably support. I will tell you this, I don't know how they're going to handle this, but I've heard in some states that do this that we do the literacy test late in the year, and parents will withdraw their student with a homeschool them for 2 or 3 months and then re-enroll them in the 4th grade. So that's one of those glaring loopholes that I don't know how we go about. Catherine?
So the idea is really to catch them earlier so that we are putting those interventions in place. That's the whole idea behind it, so that we don't get to that point of having to repeat. That's for all, that's not just special ed, that's all students.
And I don't know if I can, yeah, nope, I'm missing. So, it just like, I feel like this is a really good example of how things are changing in those elementary schools and why we need those extra parking spots. I'm just saying. Or people that are helping our students, it's so great, but heaven help us, those parking spots are driving me nuts.
Okay, the other one, of course, another big bill was the bell-to-bell, no cell phones bill.
That's SB 69.
That SB 69, as you look up and down there, you can see that. And, you know, in general, we've been doing that in our schools for classroom time. Now, it just says that you're not supposed to see them. And when it says bell-to-bell, from before the first bell to the end of the day, and so.
So currently our 6th and 7th are bell to bell, but not 8 through 12. So there's going to be a little bit of
learning curve when they get.
How are they going to enforce that, or what's the?
I think they'll probably take the same process, and they'll have a warning, and there'll be a point where they actually, if they continue, there'll be a point where they take them, and then a point where the principal will take them, call the parent has to come and get them. And there are exemptions, of course. I mean, there are students that need their cell phones for diabetic situations.
Well, I'm just thinking like lunchtime, for example, or my kids text me, like Allie goes from, or my daughter, she goes from like the high school clear over to the natatorium or whatever, and on her way she's like, tells me a funny joke or something, like texting, like, and so I guess and at lunchtime kids are sitting around eating, and are they like going to be?
I think we're supposed to.
I mean,
well,
like,
they talk.
Send more man time then. I mean, that's what I'm asking. Are we going to have more teachers spending more time during break times to? I'm not for or against it. Honestly, I don't really have that strong of opinion. I think out of classrooms, yes, absolutely. This bell to bell, I think there could be benefits or whatever for both. But I'm just wondering, on our end as a district, like what is our responsibility, and how are we going to? Like, are we going to have paraeducators, like, roaming the hallway, or, like, monitor? I guess I'm not sure I understand the logistics of it.
Well, I think that's one of the things that we'll get more clarification on as we go through. And I know one of the discussions was the fact that in states that have done this, they claim the kids are actually talking to each other more at lunchtime instead of on their cell phones. So I think there's going to be a lot of clarification. Just FYI, we go through this process and work the legislature, and then right now the State Board of Education is working on all of these bills, and I go to a training in about 3 weeks, and we go with our BAs, and we go and spend 2 days and talk about the USBE they're putting in their time right now to then explain each one of these bills in more entirety so that we can understand what the purpose of the bill was. And there's even some work sometimes on if something is kind of fuzzy or ambiguous, then the USBE will go to the sponsor and get more clarification. Sometimes the bill is even refined a little bit even after. Representative, am I off on that one, just to make sure the clarity is there so that we're able to follow it properly? And so that'll take place, and I should be able to talk more to you about that process. And as I don't think it's any surprise right now, our hope is to have a superintendent replacement for me that will be able to go to that particular meeting as well and get that information, because it's all about next year's. And some of these bills take effect immediately, some of them start in May, but the vast majority of them are July 1st going into next year. So other bills that I've missed that you had any information. I don't know how the representative feels, but from my perspective and from I think our joint legislative committee's perspective, this session was not as hectic or as maybe intense on public education. I don't know, Representative, there wasn't quite as much and big things like, House Bill 84 from 2 years ago, been 3 years, they all mesh, some things like that. So I don't think there's quite as much. Any thoughts on that, Representative Peterson? I mean, you've been inside, but you know better than I.
I think you laid it out pretty well. I think it was a good year for education. I think overall we did a 5% increase in education funding, over $8 billion for K-12 education for our state. It's a lot of money, and it's for a good cause.
Well, thank you. Any questions from the board or? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for this list. I looked through, it makes it easy for us to look them up and see what they mean. And
Well, I thought, you'll have to tell me if I emailed it or not, but I did dump all those bills into AI.
Okay,
And,
I was gonna say that,
Yeah.
I did that for a couple bills, I'm
Yeah.
like, I cannot read this and understand it, so
yeah,
I
and AI does, you just ask them for a synopsis and you ask them for the, and then once you see that, and it might trigger something to actually go read the bill. And it's a monumental task. It's one thing to read our policies, but to read these bills is, right, Representative?
Mind-numbing.
Good for sleep aid, is that?
thanks so much, Superintendent. The next item on the agenda is board graduation assignments, and I was really surprised that Stephanie was the only one who reached out to me. Stephanie's gonna speak at the Bear River High School graduation.
Well, just to be fair, it was either me or you.
No, it could be anyone. It could be anyone. I could speak at Box Elder. They wouldn't know me, but I could do it. But no, I wanted to give you all just one more reminder and just one more chance to step in and give me a text. If I don't hear from you by Monday, I will make those assignments. And you will know who's speaking at those graduations on Monday.
I'll just remind you I spoke last
I did as well, Brian, so we're good.
I know,
We're good.
I would just think that Julie has a graduate, so I think that one would be taken
That's
care
right, I
of.
forgot that Erin was.
I'm in denial, no, just kidding.
So would you like that
I could do that,
opportunity?
yeah.
Perfect.
I can
Great.
manage 2 minutes.
Thank you, and thank you for remembering that, Karen. I forgot.
Crying, maybe.
I'm good with Stephanie taking Bear River, so.
Okay, all right.
And good news, you won't have Jamie bugging you like crazy, Julie, to tell you only 2 minutes, only 2 minutes.
They should still bug us.
I know, I was gonna say, fine, if it's more than 2 minutes, I'm not.
I don't think I will be here on June 11th, or I
All
will
right,
do
just look at it, give me a
Sunrise.
text if you'd like to do Sunrise. If not, I will choose one of you. Okay, all right, so moving on to consent items. Do we have a motion for any of that?
I have a question on some of the consent items. On the item J5, the Discovery CMCG contract, how much is that for? I looked through the things and, sorry, I didn't come up with the amount.
I don't have off the top of my head, but it's a percentage of the final build. So the CMGC is the construction manager contract. They help with pre-design services. And then they also receive a percentage throughout as they manage the project to the end. On this particular project, I want to say it's right about $1 million in total if we build this school all the way through. And that depends on the final cost of the school. So it's delineated there in the terms and conditions according to what we already approved in the RFP. Now, off the top of my head, I'm gonna say it's right around $1 million.
Is that the same case for J6 and J7?
Correct. They're all percentage of bills, and this is standard procurement process that the state procurement office has already done this and given us these standard contracts to abide by. This is nothing new that we haven't already done or other districts haven't done in other areas when it comes to building schools.
So you said that the first one should be about $1 million. What about the other two?
It's a percentage of build cost, so I believe that the cost for the West Tremont, about 1% of the $38 million estimated cost would be about $3.8 million. Should we build a school?
But this is just the official contract.
That's correct.
It does not
Just trying to get
mean
numbers.
the projects are going through, correct?
That's correct.
It's
There'll be
just
one more final contract. It's called the Guaranteed Maximum Price Contract. After we receive all our bids, We compile them together along with the cost of the contingencies we built in. And that is the maximum that the contractor may charge us, absent any change orders on our part. And that will come before the board after we receive all our bids and have final pricing.
So going back, you said 3.8 million is an estimate on the Tremont and CMGC. How about the architect? Do you have an estimate?
The architect on the Tremont one is about $1.5 million. That one, the reason that's that cost is because we're taking a repeat design we already have, updating it to current building code standards, adding a few minor interior adjustments, and that is the last attachment there. I want to believe it's about $1.5 million that was their proposed cost structure.
Thank you.
I move that we approve consent items.
I'll second.
You have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
That motion passes 6-1. All right, moving on to case suggestions for future board meetings. Okay, seeing none right now. If you have if something comes to mind, please email the superintendent and I and Danielle together, and we'll get working on that. I know we already have some. You can see which ones are in plans, in the planning stages. Thank you to Marcy for giving us those the graduation dates. Also, I want to just put in a quick reminder for the USBA Spring Regional Meeting. It's tomorrow at Maddox. I know you've already RSVP'd to Marcy. I just wanted to remind you of that.
That's 6 o'clock, right?
Yes, if I remember right, that's correct. I want to apologize, board handbook. I did not get that assigned for tonight's meeting, so that I apologize. That slipped my mind. We will have that for next month. Again, my apologies. All right, we are going to move. We need a motion to move into closed session to discuss purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, and then we will come back into open session for items F6 and 7 on the agenda.
I move we move into closed session to discuss purchase, exchange, or lease of real property. We're also discussing competence of an individual as well.
I think we'll come back.
Come back and vote, and then finish off with
Okay, all right, so a motion to only go into closed session, discuss purchase, exchange, and lease of property.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We need a roll call vote.
Stephanie D. Phillips, yes.
Brian Smith, yes?
Tiffany Summers, yes.
Danielle Wright, yes.
Erin Cronin, yes.
Wade Hyde, yes.
Julie Taylor, yes.
Thank you.
I know that's
Really burning the midnight oil.
Good job, Corey.
I'm glad. Thanks so much for being here, Michaela.
I wanted to tell you. I wrote something.
Okay, we ready?
I think that
Yeah, I think it looks so much like her.
no, it's Thursday. Spearhead on break.
Sorry.
Instead of just
Last one.
Left it.
That, I didn't get the name, but that's when they said was, they kind of have,
Motion to come
this
back.
little document kind of has.
We just
We've already done that.
Okay, we're live and the mic is on, everyone.
Let's go. Let's go, go, go.
If you get that.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if you wanted to put that in there, but they made me
First we
happy.
got GPT and then went into. You might want to look at that. I just remember once.
Is he sending the motion to someone?
Julie.
Julie has it.
Okay, we are back in open session. We voted in closed session to leave closed session and come back to open. So we are on agenda item F6.
And I would like to make a motion that I move the board approve the real estate purchase agreement with Brigham City for approximately 13 acres at a purchase price of $113,000 per acre. The board also approves that the superintendent, business administrator, and real estate consultant shall negotiate fair compensation for additional infrastructure improvements.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion?
Discussion, I just want to go on the record that with us trying to go out for facilities, I think we should save our money for that so we can show the public that we are tightening our belt.
I would like to comment that with the sale of other property, this still puts us ahead. The other property brings in more revenue than this sale does. And this shows the public that we are having conversations with our local municipalities on where planning is and housing is going and where schools should be located for the future. And if we miss out on this opportunity, we'll probably pay more for this land in the future. And I mean, I know we've been accused of not having these meetings, but they have to happen in closed session for a reason. And, you know, we've been meeting with the city for months on this. So.
Any other discussion on the motion? Okay, let's have a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, that motion passes 6-1. And we are going to move to F7.
Sorry,
right there. The board recommendation to approve our lease agreement.
I'm trying to make it bigger so I can read it. I move that the Board of Education approve the lease agreement for the Bear River Seminary with the LDS Church in the amount of $3,700 per month.
I'll second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Did you get those, Neil? Yes. Okay, great, thank you. Any discussion to that motion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We need to vote to go into closed session to discuss the character or professional competence of an individual. And yes, so we'll adjourn our board meeting after that closed session as we leave closed session. I need a motion.
I make a motion that we move into closed session to discuss the character or professional competence of an individual.
Second.
All right, we need a roll call vote.
Stephanie Phillips, yes.
Brian Smith, yes.
Tiffany Summers, yes.
And Neil Wright, yes.
Karen Cronin, yes.
Wade Hyde, yes.
Julie Taylor, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I just.
Somebody lead them.
No, it must not have been showing up before, and now it's. because I closed my computer so refresh.
Yeah, so I was not getting that. And I told her, because we exercise in the morning, like we don't go to the gym on Thursdays, so like I had more meetings.
We leave those and then they just rearrange.
Dunes, and it doesn't matter.
Good luck tonight.
It's good to have.
Don't step on cake.
Hey, my friends, they left St. George. They left St. George even under 5 hours. One for spring and one for you all. Absolutely. But it was at night. There was no traffic. There's deer when there's snow. But
Are we gathering the water as well?
If they're unused, I think we can go put them in the fridge. If they're used, chuck them.
graduation from work.
I can't tell on that one. This is mine. They gave it to me, not to you.
Is this yours as
It
well?
is, but that stays.
What if it's not your spot and everything?
I will move it. It's always here. I'll grab it.
So you know that, that's good.
But you can always move me. I don't mind.
I don't
feel
know
like
who,
you guys
actually,
really stick me on
I
the
actually don't know who moves.
I don't really mind.
I think Marcy just comes in and.
As long as I'm not in this spot, I'll be just fine.
That's funny.
Scissors in her head. I'm sorry.
Some sessions with the community
And so they can't make it because there are secrets. I was keep them over here. You advocate for that donation.
It's like they're all part of it. Yeah.
I remember your wedding.
That's a problem. Fine. Yeah. Good luck. We'll go to our hard stuff. Go do your stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where I'm at on this. I've got to go back up to Cassandra. I would love to walk out with you. If you can give me 5 seconds.
I can give you 7.
I need to put
8-7.
this on here that this member said she just wanted
I
to.
didn't see the finals. I haven't looked at my phone
For
since
lacrosse?
5-5.
I pulled it. Lots of the boys.
8-7. What's that?
Jordan wanted to go and Cannon because he's 8th grade across and he played with all of those boys.
Wow.
Last year they won the state championship for comp. But then
8-7, huh?
And he said it.
one of my girls was really sick and so I was like, I guess we'll say more. There's another game on Friday. Don't have to with her, but it'll be fine.
Well, when I saw it, I was like,
Like on the
oh, thank you. When I saw it, I was like,
Because it grew up in a person.
I don't. See you, Robert.
You have a good night.
You as well.
I like your new setup, Robert. I feel less guilty walking out on 5 minutes of cleanup than 30.
I know, isn't this wonderful?
Seriously, so good.